The 2021 iRacing Rallycross World Championship presented by Yokohama has flown across the pond to land in the British Isles. There is no form book to look back on, as for the first time, Brands Hatch will host iRacing Rallycross action at the World Championship level. 2021 has been all about the Subaru Motorsports USA driver of John Robertson, who has taken back-to-back poles and victories as he returns home. But can the local lad who grew up just 90 minutes away make history and become the first winner at this historic track? We'll find out in the next 2 hours as we say hello and welcome to the iRacing Esports Network. My name is Arjuna Kankipati, and alongside, as always, is Paul Smith with the birthday boy Tyler Maxon in the production truck, controlling all of the action. Paul, we're in your neck of the woods now in a race that you've been looking forward to for a while. Brands has seen plenty of rallycross action in the real world, and you've grown up listening to the likes of Murray Walker calling the action from this fantastic facility with some fantastic race cars.
Yeah, this is a tremendous facility. Okay, the version that we have here isn't an exact replica of what we used to race in Rallycross back in the day, but this is still a tremendous track, a real challenge for these drivers out here today, and certainly one that I am looking forward to here at Brands Hatch.
So here's a look at our schedule. Round 4 about to get underway, starting our European swing. 3 races in the US before heading on our Grand European Tour. We'll head to Barcelona, Catalonia in 7 days' time. Lankenmannen to round off the month of October, and our 3 European races on the season. You mentioned it, Paul. It's not the layout that maybe those who have grown up watching the rallycross action at this track will be accustomed to, but it's one that makes usage of the Indy layout of Brands Hatch. This is a racetrack that we've seen not just play host to so many memorable moments in real-world motorsport, but plenty of World Championship action as well.
Absolutely, and you know, if you ever want a stereotypical sort of old school style track, then this is it. Not the easiest place to overtake at in the road layout, but here in Rallycross, you've got some opportunities out there. Down towards Turn 1, into Paddock Hill Bend, through the chicane, up towards Druids, and then plunge downhill to the little sort of mini hairpin down at Graham Hill Bend. Along then the Cooper Straight up into Surtees and McLaren before heading through the Clark Curve and that Joker Lap as well.
Well, and the Joker Lap, it is shorter in distance, so we should make it clear, because we've been saying that European Jokers tend to be longer. Shorter in distance, longer in time, about 1.5 seconds extra added to your lap time by virtue of the bumpy nature of that dirt Joker Lap. Around the regular Clark Curve you will go for 4 of these regular heat laps, and of course getting ready now for the All-Stars to head out onto track. This is where we have some fun. Set out a very eclectic group of drivers here at Brands Hatch to have some fun before sim racing's finest show us how it's all done. Ron Capps in his Beetle heading around the final corner right now. 5 minutes for qualifying. Drivers get 3 flying laps to set their fastest lap times. Currently it's GoPro Lopez of Team Fordzilla. Provisional pole of 56.230. It is one of the longest laps in Rallycross on the iRacing service, and definitely the longest lap we'll see in our 2021 season here, Paul.
Certainly is, as you see that run through Turn 1 into 2 and then 3. This was part of the old Rallycross course, then into Druids here. Use of the handbrake there by Ron. Gets on the power. This jump wasn't here. The old course used to turn off left before this jump here. And then down. This is where you could potentially see some action into this Graham Hill Bend, although hitting the wall on the outside isn't the ideal line there, Ron.
We're in your neck of the woods, Paul, so we're going to have to bring out some of the British slang. Argy-bargy, all sorts of things like that. This, you'll see, off to the right is the Joker, and it can be difficult watching drivers entering onto that Joker lap. We saw in our All-Star Invitational in the spring earlier in 2021, just 7 days after this track came out, we had the first round of our All-Star Invitational presented by Yokohama. Sim racing's finest as well competed there. Vicente Salas and Joni Ollikainen got together on the Joker merge. That was during one of the last chance qualifiers. Craig's setup shot back for some more action. He's had some fun, plenty of flips as well in his 360. No actual 360 spins though for Craig Williams. Over the jump he'll go, and you'll notice here to the left-hand side of the track they go, setting themselves up into Graham Hill Bend. You'll see some 2-wide action as we ride around on the Yokohama onboard, sliding back onto the tarmac and heading into the final couple of corners.
Yeah, that's in fact we're at the end of qualifying. Not enough time to get the last lap in there, so we'll get to see our first grid of the today's races.
And so here to look then at our Yokohama starting grid for heat number 1 in the All-Star Invitational here at Brands Hatch. So on pole position, it will be Justin Melillo. Remember, these heat races are inverted, so fastest qualifiers start at the back. Trevor Teal will be on the outside of row 1, Aero and Tim Stevens, row 2, Parker Retzlaff. And the pole position winner, GoPro Lopez, 5th and 6th. It's an interesting run into turn 1, one of the hardest braking zones on the track. Plenty of chaos as you transition yourself from the tarmac onto the gravel. And we'll wait and see exactly how that's going to stack up here today. Waiting then, you'll see they're fanned out three rows, 2 cars, fanned themselves off across the track. And once we get into our 10-lap, 10-car feature in the All-Stars, in the World Championships, I should say, they'll form themselves back to the inside. So maybe where you want to be is on the inside defending. We've seen plenty of brave, opportunistic moves around the outside. Here we go then, heat number 1 underway, and already some chaos in towards that first corner. Melillo doesn't get the best start. Teal is side by side then with Aero, who got a rocket of a launch. They'll be side by side heading into turn 2. Need to be careful. There's a tire barrier ready to greet you if you're a little bit too eager with the anti-cut curve. All 6 cars through safely.
Yeah, nicely done there, and sliding their way through Druids then on this first lap through the dirt. Up over the jump they go. You've got to watch your landing on that one, and you can see the car in second place, out of control. That's Aero, and that's what happens when you get your landing wrong.
Oh, and he almost backs up into his Traction GG colleague there. Melillo screams through just by the whisker of his teeth. Tim Stevens now attacking the back of Trevor Teal in the Nitro Circus Star car. 1 car off to the Joker. Again, 1.5 seconds slower, so GoPro Lopez going to bump themselves over the bumps. Try and find some clean track position to set some fast lap times here. Lap 1 in the books. Teal, Stevens, and Retzlaff forming a train of cars. Hard onto the brakes they go into turn number 1.
So easy to get your braking point wrong for this first turn through Paddock Hill Bend, and see the great shot, the way the cars are having to change direction through this. This is something that we'll be seeing throughout the World Championship portion of the broadcast. Tim Stevens making a little bit of contact there with Retzlaff, and well, bang bang, that's what we like to see here. A little bit of contact, but everybody's still going.
And just a reminder as well, damage is off for these races, so with the new healing system on the iRacing service, you may see some cosmetic damage, but that'll get fixed up pretty quickly as these cars continue to roll around. 2 cars onto the Joker, not always ideal to follow someone through. Retzlaff and Stevens then will head onto the Joker. Trevor Teal still out there. You saw just how aggressive they were on entry, but on the merge, can GoPro Lopez get 1, if not 2 positions? He'll get Stevens, I think, at the very least, but coming out behind Parker Retzlaff, who won, of course, at Daytona to kick things off.
See, in that sort of situation, if you're the car following, you almost want to do the opposite of what that car in front of you does. So if they don't go for the Joker, you do, and vice versa. It's not the easiest to do that sort of tactic, though, here at Brands Hatch, because you've got that run through Surtees, and you're already lining yourself up in the entry of Surtees. Look at that over the jump there. GoPro Lopez all over Retzlaff.
Oh, and trying to go around the outside, but the corner does really narrow on as you exit down through the banking of what is now on the outside of Graham Hill Bend. Loses a little bit of momentum, does Pablo GoPro Lopez. Trevor Teal, 2.8 seconds clear, so has managed to cover off the Joker. But not be surprised if he waits until the very last lap of this race and hopes for Retzlaff and for GoPro Lopez to continue fighting. Of course, 6 cars in this heat. 2 will advance straight to the feature. The rest of our competitors heading to the last chance qualifiers. That Fiesta all over the rear end of the Subaru, a little bit tighter. Retzlaff a bit wide coming in through turn 1. That can compromise you as you look rearward with the Dirtfish on board. Pablo, does he have a look to the inside? No, he doesn't. Still on the dirt, slinging their way through the hairpin, through Druid, and now down across that jump. It is such a fun jump, but it's also very, very easy to get some damage when you land very awkwardly. It's something that we've seen on occasion in Rallycross competition.
You see how that Fiesta, though, Pablo GoPro Lopez has really got that working nicely, even though it is a fixed setup in this particular competition, the All-Stars, and well, he's certainly giving it a good effort out there. And in fact, they've been really closing in to Trevor Teal in front, so he did have that gap. He's looking like he may lose the lead when he takes the Joker.
I was waiting to see left-hand side. You can see the timing tower shows which cars have taken to the Joker. Trevor Teal now only 6/10 in front, so has made a couple of mistakes. Wonderful camera shot as the cars sling themselves through that chicane and up the hill towards Druids. Trevor Teal hanging the rear end out one way then the other. GoPro Lopez is going to send it deep and lose a little bit of time. Still within the window, though, for Trevor Teal to come down to the Joker and still cycle behind GoPro Lopez. So looking like Retzlaff and Lopez will be going on through, but here we go down the hill into the Joker for the very final time.
It's good to see Tim Stevens out there, the most dapper man on the grid. He certainly is in his suit and tie, but he's not going to get automatically through straight away in this heat.
Very interesting race suit for Tim Stevens, but across the line, Heat 1 winner, Parker Retzlaff. He'll be followed through to our 10-lap feature with GoPro Lopez, and remember, it's an inverted feature. So these cars that have won will start all the way at the tail end of the field. Lots of work to do. As Aero and Justin Melillo, the two Traction GG cars that almost made contact on lap number 1. Unsafe rejoin that would have triggered Connery Maddock, that's for sure, by Aero. Still manages to come out in front of Justin Melillo. Across the line they come. A little bit of style on offer from the Aero car. Of course, a Twitch streamer. Likes to do a lot of drifting, so just showing off those skills. So here's a look then at the results on our first heat on the day. Good to see the one Ford in the field up there in second. Parker Retzlaff, GoPro Lopez through to the 10-lap feature. Let's take a look then at the starting grid for our second heat. Here is your Yokohama starting grid. Just 5 cars on offer. Ron Capps, Daniel Dye will share the front row. First time we've seen the ARCA driver of Daniel Dye in action here. Connor Barry, Luke Knupp, plenty of iRacing experience across the two drivers there. Craig Williams, of course, took a dramatic podium at the World Center of Racing to kick things off. We'll line up at the tail end of this field. And with just 11 cars in competition today, does mean just one last chance qualifier. It's going to be hectic. It's going to be frenetic. That is what Rallycross is all about. Some variety in this field as well. You've got 2 Subarus and 2 VW Beetles. So great to see some more diversity, not what we get to see when the World Championship cars roll out. Waiting for the engines to rev and for us to go racing for heat number 2. And away we go. Knupp doesn't get off the line at all. Craig Williams will look to the outside of Ron Capps. Beetle 1 and 2. The 360 car powers to the lead. Craig Williams in control.
That's heartbreak for Knupp then. Not getting away at the start. I think he has been able to get away after having issues, it appears. But yeah, through they go, and look at them sliding their way through Droids. Yep, there's Knupp. We are missing 1 car from that grid, actually, aren't we? So something happened to Daniel Dye. That means that he's not taken to the start.
You are right. So never say never if you're Knupp. Just wait for some chaos in front of you to unfold, and you might still find your way through to the feature. Williams, interesting call, straight down to the Joker. I don't know if I like this one. You'll come out right behind, I believe, Connor Barry, so he's going to have some lap traffic. It will be close between Williams and Barry, though. That's that Joker merge, but lots more speed for the car that's gone through the regular last turn. It's Barry on the inside, Williams on the outside as they get onto the anchors in towards turn number 1. Oh, Williams, a little bit aggressive on the turn-in, and he sent Barry to wedge himself into the barrier.
Barry, oh, he has got going again as Barry, but yeah, that's dropped him down all the way to the back of your field there. Knupp has taken that Joker as well, as you can see on the left-hand side of the screen. But yeah, not an ideal run through turn number 1 at Paddock Hill Bend, and unfortunately, that contact not quite working out for Connor Barry.
No, and again, it's a good thing that we're here just for some fun, because, well, if things were a bit more serious, the $25,000 was on the line, like we'll see when we get to the World Championship portion of today's action. It will be much more debatable and hot topic will be those incidents into turn one as Williams off into the grass. It just about manages to hold on. We're going to take a look then at the iRacing replay of what happened between Williams and Barry in towards that first corner. Here is a look, looking rearwards from Barry, trying to hold the inside, be that blocker on the inside on the apex of the corner. Not much he could really do as Williams gets into his left rear quarter panel.
And that's the thing, because he's so hard onto the brakes into that corner, all the weight is transferred to the front of the car, so any sort of contact at the rear is going to unsettle it, and it's going to send you into that wall, and that's exactly what's happened. And Craig Williams is around now.
Oh, and what was I saying about Knupp? Being patient, waiting for his opportunity. He'll make his way off the banking and back onto the tarmac. Knupp in second. 4 seconds behind Ron Cap, so not within the Joker Delta just yet. But looking good to transfer as we now wait to see. Is Cap's going to come down this time around? You can see, yeah, he's come down. He's going to be in front of Knupp. 2 laps to go. 2 seconds clear.
As soon as that happened for Craig Williams, if I was sat in Ron Cap's shoes, how can you sit in somebody's shoes? But anyway, if I was in his seat, I would have done exactly the same as what Ron has done here. Take that Joker lap. As soon as he got that huge gap when that incident for Williams happened, and that means that you've got the lead. All you've got to do now is try and keep a hold of it, but when you've got Luke Knupp charging you down, that's easier said than done.
2 different generations of race car drivers. Cap's, of course, a veteran when it comes to the drag strip. Knupp, a teenager, plenty of accolades when it comes to off-road competition, but also plenty of experience on the sim as well. Knupp has been pretty rapid in today's race. His fastest lap is 1 full second quicker than Cap's to the inside. Here comes the Subaru, and into the race lead after not getting off the line. Luke Knupp will take the white flag. 1 more lap to go.
It's not the end of the world for Ron, though. He can stay ahead of Craig Williams.
Oh!
Craig sets up sharp. That's not the best way of going about that, though, Ron. Oh, and he's into the wall.
Well, chaos.
Commentator's curse.
I know, chaos and carnage. It's just like Brands Hatcher's welcoming us here for the first time in World Championship action. Heartbreak for Caps, but of course into the last chance qualifiers. Still will have an opportunity to work his way into the feature. Oh, what a wonderful camera shot of the cars launching themselves over the jump. But out front and in control, he didn't get off the line, but Luke Knupp will head around the final corner. Hopefully no major drama here, no commentator's curse to come down, Paul. He'll win this final heat on the day.
Yeah, not a bad drive from the back of the grid. Gave himself an 8-second penalty and still manages to come out in the lead.
Checkered flag out, and Knupp takes heat 2. He'll start from the tail end then of our 10-lap feature. Advancing along with him is Craig Williams, who's also getting some star points. There's the 360 that we were waiting for in his VW Beetle. Ron Cap's in 3rd, Connor Barry in 4th. Heats are done with just 11 cars in our field for today. It's been a busy week on the iRacing service. Lots of the drivers we've seen join us have had to unfortunately not be able to join us today. We'll see them in 7 days' time, hopefully from the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. Knupp and Williams through. Caps, Barry, and Dye. Dye, of course, did not take to the starting grid. We'll head to the last chance qualifier, and those cars already gridding up. Here's a look at the Yokohama starting grid. Trevor Teal, Ron Capps on the front row. Tim Stevens, Connor Barry on row number 2, while Aero and Daniel Dye 5th and 6th positions. Justin Melillo starts at the tail end of the field. But because we have a slightly smaller grid today, what we have decided to do, Paul, is bump the numbers up. It will be all of these drivers advancing. In effect, what they're battling for is grid position. They'll want to start from the front, which means they have to finish at the rear end of this race right here.
Yeah, if you're very clever about things, what you'll do is you'll go as slow as possible, finish last place in this race, and that will give you that you see him right there, the front left of the grid.
So here we go. It's 5 more laps to determine our grid position. Aero has jumped the start. That's going to give him a penalty. Connor Barry almost followed him as well. It's interesting then, because already Aero will have some sort of penalty. He might be playing the game. Trevor Teal deep under the brakes, and he's the traffic jam that we thought might happen. Who's going to squeak on through? Tim Stevens will be in 2nd position. Melillo's in 1st. They're still wrecking in the background.
Well, I mean, it looks like Bambi on ice there through the first corner. Then everybody slipping and sliding, but they've managed to get themselves going again. It's that battle of who wants to finish last. That's the thing. And Aero's giving himself a very good shot at that, to be fair, by getting a jump start.
I don't think Daniel Dye is taken to the starting grid again, as who was that in the wall? Justin Melillo.
Yeah.
Oh my word. Drama then right off the bat. Lap number 1 will go down in the history books as one of the most chaotic that Brands Hatch has seen, whether it be in real world competition or here on the sim. One car dives to the Joker though, that is Connor Barry in the Subaru. He'll emerge then up in 4th position, as we'll now take a look at all of the chaos and action on lap number 1. Paul, talk us through what happened there. Trevor Teal just a little bit optimistically turning into the corner very, very aggressively, and then bounce back into the path of the oncoming traffic.
Yeah, you see just the back end goes out and then everybody gets hooked up behind him. Stevens, Barry, Caps as well. And, well, it's Tim Stevens, the dapper man out front in his suit. And he's yet to take to the Joker lap, and he's got a good gap over Connor Barry right now, about 4.5 seconds.
Only Barry is taken to the Joker so far, but 4 laps left in the race, plenty of time for the rest of the competitors to do so. Ron Caps and Aero having a fun battle, but of course Aero likely to have a post-race penalty, as he'll take to the Joker this time around. We saw this during our All-Star Invitational in the spring. Connor Parisi got what some thought was the start of his lifetime. Unfortunately, he jumped the start and as a result lost about 10 seconds in track time, as it were, as Melillo is going to rejoin the track in front of Caps. That was close, but Caps will come around the outside, I think, and hold on for now. Oh, Caps has made a mistake. Caps is going very slowly through 1 and 2. He should hold off Aero, at least for the time being. Does mean with the Joker that Caps might emerge behind the Traction GG car. This is very different, Paul. This is not what you expect when you traditionally come onto iRacing, where, you know, so winning is everything, especially when you enter some public races. But here, it's all about finishing at the tail end of the field.
Well, I think Daniel Dye's going to do a good job of that, although he has been having issues taking to the start. So obviously something has happened there. Trevor Teal right now is in for a good shot of being on the front row of the grid, because he's not taken back to the track. And with Justin Melillo out there on track, he's decided, well, I'm going to at least finish this race, even if it is a lap or 2 down.
And Teal has apologized in the in-session chat for that mistake, as Aero around the outside with that extra speed into turn number 1. Oh, he'll clip the barrier, send himself wide. Caps will squeak on through. Of course, Aero still with that penalty will end up in 4th position because Melillo 1 lap down. That penalty not going to be severe enough to drop the car in 4th behind Melillo in 5th. Tim Stevens still yet to come onto the Joker, but he's 3.5 seconds clear, so comfortable and in control. Most dapper man in the field, and also potentially the calmest man, as Ron Caps then makes the mistake through that left-hand sweeping hairpin. Aero will come on through, and unless Caps gets this one turned around in time, Aero might finish in front of Caps now.
It's not the end of the world, is it, really, though? for Ron, it means that he'd start 1 place further up, wouldn't it? So I'm not saying that he's playing the game by any means, by the way. That was a genuine mistake that happened there. One man who's had a pretty instant free race, apart from turn 1, Tim Stevens, he's loving it up at the front.
The Roadshow editor getting to show that those that can write also can do. That would very much appear to be the case, as that Subaru has looked very much in control. Look at that car body language, the way the car just rotates and maintains the weight transfer around the corner. Very much in control, and a good example of how to take that left-hand banked hairpin into the Joker. Over the bumps for the final time comes the number 64 machine. Tim Stevens should win this last chance qualifier. Does mean he'll line up then in the middle of our 10-lap feature. But out of the Joker, back onto the start-finish straight. Tim Stevens takes the checkered flag in our last chance qualifier. Connor Barry then in 2nd, only about 1.5 seconds off the pace at the end of the day. Given what we saw at the start, wait now and continue to wait for the rest of the field to come on through.
Yeah, here comes Aero, I do believe, across the line. And it'll be Ron Caps results in a moment. He's behind Justin Malillo, who comes across the line. There's Ron across the line, so we should have our official results.
And so now, here's a look at these results from the last chance qualifiers. Tim Stevens wins, Connor Barry second. As we said, Ron Capps and Aero do switch around. Justin Malillo fifth, Trevor Teal sixth, so he should start at the point of the field. But we are now ready to go. 2 heats, 1 last chance qualifier done. We're going to take a short break here on the iRacing Esports Network. Don't go anywhere. Feature racing action in the All-Star Invitational coming up next on the iRacing Esports Network.
Take your driving to the next level at Dirtfish. Gain confidence behind the wheel of an all-wheel drive Subaru STI or rear-wheel drive BRZ. Get sideways with skills on gravel, mud, and tarmac. Dirtfish offers programs for every driver. Visit dirtfish.com for details.
Welcome back to the iRacing Esports Network for coverage of the 2021 iRacing Rallycross World Championship presented by Yokohama. There's one thing that separates first place from the rest of the pack: the finish line. High-performance, race-inspired Yokohama Advan tires give you the drive to win. Discover Advan at yokohamatire.com. My name is Arjuna Kankipati. Alongside for the action today is Paul Smith. And Paul, well, Brands Hatch, such a fun racetrack, and plenty of chaos was shown there in the heats in the last chance qualifiers. We are now ready. 10 laps, 11 drivers. Boy, is this going to be interesting.
Certainly is, and these drivers, they've been having fun all day. Apologies, I just went and punched the microphone. But yeah, these drivers have been having fun all day. Absolutely loving it, and yeah, they're all taking part in this feature race, and that means that they all get the opportunity to race each other at once now. If it wasn't crazy enough with the heats and the last chance qualifier, now we've got them all together on track. That's going to be a little bit mad, a little bit crazy.
And here's a look at our 2021 schedule. Of course, the All-Star Invitationals preceding our World Championship action for the first time in 3 previous years. So this is the 4th season of World Championship action. We have 9 races with 9 unique venues. No repeat visits to any of the facilities on the iRacing service. Means challenges for veterans and rookies alike, as GoPro Lopez goes. Dirt tracking in the background. That's not the line, Pablo, that you're meant to be taking, but we're here at Brands Hatch, Paul, on this side of the pond for the first time. 3 European races, Barcelona coming up after this, and of course Hell Lankenbanen, which saw 2 races last year in the World Championship. Some really fun racetracks, and it's great to see Rallycross continuing to add new venues to its roster.
Yeah, absolutely. It's great to see this coming in for everybody, and don't forget that you know, if you are an iRacing member, then you can compete in the Rallycross events all the way through the iRacing season. If you want to, if you aren't a member, do head on over to iRacing.com for details. There is currently a 40% off all new memberships offer happening right now, so make sure you head on over to iRacing.com, where you do actually get a rookie Rallycross series as part of your subscription, and yeah, you get a few of the courses, and you also get the light version of the VW Beetle. So it's definitely a great way to sink your teeth into iRacing's Rallycross.
Yeah, it's a proper ladder that's now being built up on the dirt road side of the iRacing service. Like Paul mentioned, you've got the VW Beetle Light. There's also a fixed Rallycross series. Once you get to the supercars, 600 horsepower, 0 to 60 in about 2.5 seconds before you get to the open setup supercars action itself. And of course, just a reminder as we get ready to take a look at our Yokohama starting grid, iRacing special event calendar continues this coming week. Crandon hosts the trucks for what should be a thrilling race weekend. Starts already with our daily races that you can take part of, all building up to super sessions this coming Saturday. Here's a look then at our Yokohama starting grid for round 4 of the iRacing Rallycross All-Star Invitational. Daniel Dye, not sure if we're going to see him take to the starting grid. Technical issues, haven't seen him roll out onto track just yet, but might be Trevor Teal alone on the front row. Justin Milillo and Arrow, the 2 Traction GG cars, share row 2. Connor Barry, Ron Capps, 5th and 6th positions respectively. Been an interesting run so far for them in 2021. Tim Stevens and Craig Setup Shop alongside each other, 7th and 8th, while GoPro Lopez and Luke Knupp, 9th and 10th. Parker Retzlaff, winner at Daytona, will line up at the tail end of this 11-car feature. 11 cars here at Brands Hatch. Watch out for turn 1 pole. It might be a traditional M25 traffic jam.
Sorry, I've just overheard what Aero said in the race chat, and he says, I'm in danger. He's on the front row of the grid, so good luck to him.
Trevor Teal hasn't lined up either, so row 2 becomes row 1. We'll have to wait and see how this fares out. 10 laps on the board. No car on the inside. Ron Capps, jump start. We saw that in the last chance qualifiers. We see that once more. Craig Williams gets the whole shot, bullies Ron Capps out of the way. Capps get a shot from behind. He'll turn Connor Barry. Carnage and chaos in through turn number 1. Cars going all sorts of sideways. Out front, though, Arrow emerges in the race lead. Justin Milillo battling side by side with Craig Williams. Williams around the outside.
Parker Retzlaff, the real driver who lost out in all of that, and more contact happening through Druids. They're all trying to fight over the same piece of dirt, and that generally doesn't work out well. GoPro Lopez battling and banging his way past Connor Barry. Look at that slide job from Luke Knupp, and it's chaos at Graham Hill Bend.
So Barry and GoPro Lopez are having to get themselves turned around and pointed back in the right direction. It's allowed Arrow and Craig Williams to run away at the front of the field. Tim Stevens has managed to scamper his way through the chaos to emerge in 3rd position. Justin Milillo running up there in 4th. Parker Retzlaff completes the top 5. Left-hand side of the screen, you'll be able to follow the Joker progress over the course of these 10 laps. When the timing tower lights up, you'll know which car is taken to the Joker. Retzlaff side by side with Milillo. Milillo decides it's not worth fighting. Retzlaff is going to knock the wall down, but holds on for now. In through the chicane where you can try and cut as much of those anti-cut curbs as you feel comfortable doing, and up the hill into Drew as they come.
To say that Retzlaff was the worst off of the turn 1 incident, he's done well to actually find himself suddenly in 4th place. He must be thinking, what on earth has gone on here? Well, I'm sure we're about to find out.
So here's a look then at your iRacing.com replay. Basically, I think we need to take a look at the entirety of lap number 1 because, well, it was frenetic to say the least. GoPro Lopez and I believe that's Barry, they were side by side heading into the left-hand sweeper. They got themselves tangled up with one another. Somehow, Tim Stevens emerges unscathed through all of that chaos. As onto the Joker comes one of the Traction GG cars. I believe that's Milillo, will emerge behind GoPro Lopez. Arrow and Craig Williams now only separated by 0.4 of a second, so that Beetle is hunting down the race leader. Both cars outside of the Joker Delta right now, so for Tim Stevens, he needs to pull up the gap to about 2.5 seconds. Try and close in on these leaders. Over the jump they go and sliding their way back onto the gravel.
As, through that corner then at Graham Hill Bend, and Craig Williams is just biding his time right there, and well, he's decided to take to the Joker now. Get it out the way, although that's not the best entry into the wall. He's lost himself more time there, and well, he's trying to do a grind down the wall there. Not quite up on the top of that wall there, Craig, so points lost for that one. But yeah, Craig just losing a lot of time, and right now if I'm Aero, I'm possibly thinking take the Joker on this lap.
That was a nice Tony Hawk impersonation there. Like you said, though, doesn't nail the landing, is going to lose style points for that one. The gap, 1.8 seconds. What can the Traction GG car do? I think it's fair to say as well, not being the easiest of 2021 All-Star Invitationals for both Aero and Justin Melillo. Melillo's had some sort of an issue that's seen him pull himself down onto pit road. You can see on the left-hand side of the screen, everyone except your race leader has come down to Joker. Only 3 laps done, and Aero is going to stay out there for now. You can see coming through Clark Curve, using the tarmac, trying to build up the power. 4-wheel drive, you want to make sure that you're turned in before you slam onto the throttle and go foot to the floor. That gap's 1.4 seconds. I think even with the Tony Hawk impersonation, Craig's setup shot might still be in a good position to take this lead away.
But this is why, if I was Aero, I would have taken that Joker straight away, because he just was on that borderline of staying in front. And it's easier to defend if you're actually in front of the driver than if they just close up the gap. And now look at it. Craig is right there with Aero, and it's pretty much a given.
Over the jump he'll come, putting the pressure on. Riding around with the Yokohama onboard, Aero likes to drift, gets the rear end out, but that's going to cost him time. Almost halfway through this one. Does Aero come down this time around, or is he going to stick out there and frustrate Craig Williams? He's going to stay out there. He's going to frustrate the Beetle, but to the inside, Williams had a thought about it. I'm not sure what happened there. Did he get a slowdown penalty?
Yeah, he possibly did get a slowdown penalty, so that cost him a ton of time, but not enough for Aero to pull away enough.
Something's happened to Connor Barrett. You could see the left-hand side of the screen. He's dropped behind Ron Capps at this point in time. Brands Hatch, really a brutal racetrack, it turns out, when we have this rallycross configuration. GoPro Lopez chasing down one of the best in the dirt, Luke Knupp. Sliding through that chicane. That's the type of attitude that we'll see from the cars when we get to the World Championship portion. Knupp looking really, really strong. GoPro Lopez has been one of the fastest cars, though, throughout this first part of our action today.
Yeah, but it just goes to show, if you've got that inverted grid and you start towards the rear, just how much it disadvantages you. You're more likely to get involved in the shenanigans on lap 1, which is exactly what happened to GoPro Lopez. It's all well and good having that speed. You've then got to make the moves to make it count. And to describe what the Joker lap is for those who are new to rallycross action, you can see there on the left the dirt that rejoins onto the track. Joker lap is in effect a one-off that drivers have to take. Usually on an American track, it's a shortcut, anywhere from 3 to 11 seconds shorter than the regular lap. Here on the European circuit, even if it's a shorter distance that you travel, tends to be a little bit longer in terms of time. So in the case of Brands Hatch, 1.5 seconds slower than the regular lap, and that's by virtue of the fact that it's a dirt corner. It's also very, very bumpy, so you lose a little bit of time there. It's all about timing that Joker strategy to find some clean air and make sure you position yourself in the perfect possible position. Looking rearwards from Luke Knupp, being chased down by GoPro Lopez. Yeah, GoPro's just not keeping up with him at the moment, and with Aero being the only one yet to take to the Joker lap, GoPro Lopez this is genuinely on pace. Those two Subarus in front just able to power away and to stay ahead of him right now. But that Ford, it's a shorter wheelbase car. He can use that to his advantage through the turns, a little bit more nimble through the corners. You could see him really close up under braking as well. Over the anti-cut curves, look at that wonderful shot through the chicane. It's always weird to commentate on Team Fordzilla when they're not in a Ford, but it's great to see Pablo GoPro Lopez in that Ford. We might also be seeing his sim racing teammate join us in the next 5 rounds of this All-Star Invitational. The 2021 NTT IndyCar Series champion, Alex Palou, currently having a whirlwind tour of the US as Aero takes to the Joker, so he's going to do it early. Around the outside, does Williams have him covered? Yes, he does. Craig setup shot to the race lead. Aero will slide out in second, about 1.5 seconds clear of Tim Stevens. But look at this battle behind Stevens and Knupp now. Knupp has been faster. He's really pushing on, and he's wanted to try and get past Stevens so he can have a go at those drivers in front. Look at this. This is great stuff. And if this is what the World Championship guys are going to show for us,
You are in for a treat in the next hour of action, as to the inside, hard to see from there, but just about get a look side by side. Knupp and Stevens, they'll barge over the jump. Stevens still in control, but it's getting awfully close between those two cars.
Yeah, the dapper man versus the youngster, and GoPro Lopez now is saying, oh, I want a piece of this action as well. Through on this one, into the inside, Knupp, little bit of a contact, push to pass, that should be a job done.
This is the perfect description and visual explanation of the fact that Rallycross is a cage match on wheels. GoPro Lopez trying to search for a way past Stevens. Nothing doing there. Stevens will defend hard to the inside. GoPro Lopez almost clips the wall, and he'll clip Stevens around. Tim Stevens goes around. My, oh my, GoPro Lopez got the chrome horn out. Final lap of the race. It's looking like Aero and Knupp for second and third positions.
Yeah, certainly does. As well, that was rather unfortunate there for Tim to get caught up in all of that, but it does mean that we've still got this battle going on. Knupp and Aero. Knupp wants second place. I don't think he's quite going to get it though.
We'll have to wait and see. Out of the final corner, it will be Craig Williams. As who's that going very, very sideways. Not close enough for Knupp, but across the start-finish line, it's Great Britain's own for the second time in 2 weeks. It's a sim racer who wins. It's Craig Shedupshop and Craig Williams across the line to win at Brands Hatch.
Oh, the big impact there across the line. But yeah, Craig Williams absolutely delighted with himself for that victory there.
Incredible, and well, Aero getting cleaned out across the line there, but he will still take second position. My word, Brands Hatch, what a wonderful facility it is, and it put on a show with our All-Stars. Sim Racing's best has a lot to live up to. Still waiting for the final couple of cars to come across the line. Connor Barry, Ron Capps, a drag race. Not close enough though for Capps. Connor Barry, multiple incidents, drops him to 7th. Here's a look at your race result. Craig Shedupshop wins. Aero in second. Luke Knupp finishes out the podium. Parker Retzlaff, who of course won at Daytona, finishes in 4th, while GoPro Lopez 5th. Tim Stevens, well, at one point was looking odds on for a podium. Contact with GoPro Lopez drops him behind out of the top 5. Connor Barry, Ron Capps, Justin Melillo finish off the cars that remained on the track. Daniel Dye, Trevor Teal, the 2 cars we didn't see take to the start, meant that row 2 became row 1 when we took the green flag. Incredible stuff from our All-Stars as always. What a treat it is to have such a eclectic group of drivers. We've got drivers from Full Metal Motorsports, we've got sim racing drivers. Of course, last week we saw Casey Kerwin took the victory at the Iowa Speedway. We'll be right back on the iRacing Esports Network for post-race coverage from the All-Star Invitational. Don't go anywhere, we'll be right back. Welcome back to the iRacing Esports Network for coverage of the 2021 iRacing Rallycross World Championship presented by Yokohama. There's one thing that separates first place from the rest of the pack, the finish line. High-performance, race-inspired Yokohama Advan tires give you the drive to win. Discover Advan at yokohamatire.com. My name is Arjuna Kankipati, alongside is Paul Smith. And Paul, Brands Hatch, first time we've seen the World Championship Series descend here about 60 minutes out of Heathrow Airport, you know, the main airport in the UK. And it's put on a treat so far, and All-Stars always have some fun, and today was no exception. Plenty of chaos and carnage on lap number 1, and I think we're going to take a look at everything that unfolded on the start of the race.
Yeah, this circuit does give us some tremendous action, that's for sure. And yeah, you're quite right. It's a historic circuit here. Here we see what happened towards the end of the race here. Into that last lap, you can see GoPro Lopez into turn 1. Tim Stevens holding that tight inside line. And then GoPro just clips the barrier. It pushes him into Stevens. Retzlaff gets caught up on all of that, and GoPro Lopez is able to go through.
And before we get to our post-race interviews, because we're dialing up a whole heap of drivers who just competed with us, Paul, I mean, I know that you are a fan of the classic layout of this track, but this is not that far off at times, especially the opening sector, very much reminiscent of the classic layout that we've seen here. Talk to us a little bit about the history of Rallycross here at Brands Hatch.
Yeah, absolutely. As I mentioned during the commentary, the opening part of the lap is actually pretty much as it was back in the day. But then just before the jump, you would have turned left and head through what's now a car park and viewing gallery there. And yeah, it held the British Rallycross Grand Prix between 1982 and 1996. Some really, really well-known, notable names of Kenneth Hansen, Martin Shanker, Will Gallup, Pat Duran. It's so many well-known names from the world of Rallycross have competed here, and now to say that we've got this in the virtual form, okay, not the same layout, but still produces tremendous action.
And let's start then with our podium interviews. We'll start with the driver that finished in third, Luke Knupp. Luke, I mean, wow, that was an interesting race. Very, very physical. He managed to steal the podium in the last couple of laps.
Yeah, coming from 10th place on the grid wasn't the easiest, but it was also not the easiest coming 7 seconds down in the heat race to win it. But I definitely thought I had a lot of speed this race, and I had GoPro right behind me pushing me to the front. So we kind of drafted, as you could say, and we got up to Tim, and I think I was a little too nice to Tim, and I think I should have moved him a little bit quicker, and maybe it could have gotten Arrow in second, but overall, really fun race.
What's this layout like? Is the first time that we're going to see it in World Championship action later today. We got a bit of a preview earlier this year with the All-Star Invitational, but it's a really interesting challenge, right? I mean, it's not 50-50 tarmac and dirt, but it's a lot more favored, has a lot more dirt than some of the tracks that we've seen the last couple of weeks, and really does mean, especially the Joker, which is so bumpy, that is a very interesting challenge for you guys to master.
Yeah, I actually really like this track that has all the dirt. Coming from the dirt background, it suits me a little bit more, and really easy with that skinny pedal on it. So try to get my tires to the ground and not spin them too much, and I think that showed by getting up to the front.
I also want to ask you a little bit about some of the truck racing that you've done here on the iRacing service, because it's Crandon week. I'm not sure if you knew that, but the iRacing special event calendar continues to roll on, and this time we're highlighting Crandon and those pro trucks and daily races. There's 2 daily races for members of the iRacing community to take part in every day leading up to Saturday, where the super sessions take top 40 drivers get highlighted in each of those races. How much fun is Crandon, and how different is a rallycross car to those big Pro 4 trucks?
They're a lot different. You know, you don't have the wheelbase, you don't have the suspension, you don't have the grip as the tires. These tires are meant for asphalt on the rally cars, so they're a lot different, and it really is a lot of fun. Crandon is definitely my favorite track, especially in real life. No better feeling than going through turn 1 full speed.
And so you say it's your favorite track in real life. You've won one of our Jim Beaver short truck races here on the service as well. How well does that feeling of, launching yourself into the air, sliding through the gravel, how does that compare in real life to the sim as well?
It compares very well. You don't think you'll get the same feeling as lining up, putting your helmet on, and going ahead head-to-head against 20 other drivers, but you do in iRacing, and going door-to-door, jumping hundreds of feet, it's crazy.
Thanks for joining us, Luke, and hopefully we'll see you in 7 days from circuit to Barcelona, Catalunya, because if you enjoyed this one, I think you're going to enjoy that one as well. Very difficult to pass out, but really one of my favorite tracks to just go out there and do some laps at. Congratulations on the podium. We'll see you in 7 days' time. So that was Luke Knupp, who finishes then in third. Paul Smith is standing by with Mr. Aero HG, finished second in today's event.
Yeah. How was that then out there? Because that certainly looked chaotic and fun from for our seats. How was it to drive?
I mean, it was a rough afternoon, but we ended it with a step on the podium. It was a really spooky start. That first corner is really tight, so I just wanted to like not get run over. I look back in the mirror after the first corner. I see everyone squabbling. Like, cool, I can kind of pull away a little bit because I know I don't have the pace of some of the fast guys here in the All-Stars race. But I kept looking behind. I kept seeing like nothing in the mirror. I'm like, I might have a genuine. And then I forgot about Craig. Forgot about Craig.
Well, we all generally forget about Craig at times, but you know, I did overhear you before the start. You starting there on the second row, even though it became the first row, and I heard your best Ralph Wiggum impression. Yeah, were you really that worried about all that gang coming up behind you into turn one?
I was more worried about embarrassing myself, to be honest. I didn't get as much practice as I wanted, and I got a little bit of a stomach bug going into today. I was like, all right, you know, I may not finish up here, but I don't want to break early and get run over by everyone who knows what they're doing. So I was mostly scared of like ruining the chance of someone who could finish well by being clueless. But I mean, I think the rest of them did that job for me. It looks like I haven't had a chance to look back at the first lap yet, but no, I was super scared for the heats, and then once I got past that first part, my driving got smoother and smoother because I was getting less and less worried.
Well, you know, you've jumped into the Rallycross All-Stars. Yeah, how have you been finding it this season? Because it's been so much fun to watch you guys out there.
So I come from a background of sim drifting, so I really thought a lot of that would transfer over, and it really doesn't. It's a very different way of rotating the car. You don't rely on your handbrake as much, and obviously very elbows out racing, because you know it's just Rallycross the way it is. So it's been fun trying to find a balance of leaning on other people and banging some doors and having some fun without like slamming into people and moving them out of the way. We'll save that for the pro races, but it's been a big challenge. I'm glad that I got some results this week, so I can finally say that I'm improving.
Yeah, you got to learn to move people gently out the way in Rallycross. But you know, 7 days time, Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. It's a fantastic Rallycross course. Are you looking forward to it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It was cool. It's cool to come to some of these tracks that I've never really driven in the service yet, especially ones with such pedigree like Brands. As you said, Spain next week. I know we have Hell coming up soon as well. So all those tracks I've been looking forward to. Spain's going to be a lot of fun, and hope I can repeat the performance from this week.
Well, congratulations! You got the second step on the podium this week, and yeah, all the best for next week.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thanks to my sponsors. Thanks to the homies at Dieselworks, and I'll see you guys next week.
Take care. There you go, Arjuna, second place driver, and you're standing by with the race winner.
The man from the north came down to Brands Hatch and only went out and won it. Craig, you've had a lot of fun in these All-Star Invitationals. I'm sure that was the most fun you've had this season so far.
Oh, that was fun. Obviously, Brands bias. I live in the UK. It is a travel. I've been there once in real life, and it rained all day, and half the races were cancelled. So, you know, English bias. But that was fun. This track is probably my favourite out of the ones we've run so far this season. So I guess that helps. Plus, it favours the Beetle a little. It's tight, it's twisty. The Beetle's got a small wheelbase. So I guess we had the best car. However, you know, BOP, you know, if you can give the Beetle more power next week, that'd be grand.
We'll talk to Chris Leone and see what we could do there. You talked about coming down here and it was raining. That just sounds like traditional British weather, if we're being completely honest. But we're hoping to see you the rest of the season, Craig, because it's been a lot of fun. 2 podiums, of course, this built up to the win here today. 2 more races in Europe. Have you done any practice of some of the other tracks, or are you going in blind every single week? Because I think that's part of the fun of these All-Star Invitationals, as we have such a wide-ranging, group of drivers with different skill levels, but they all are just here to have some fun. Casey Kerwin took the victory last time out. Good to have another sim racer at the top, though, here today.
I loaded into Brands Hatch 5 minutes before the session to figure out where the track went, and I'll do the same next week at Barcelona. I hear it's tricky. I've not driven it. I haven't seen a picture. I haven't watched a video. I'll just jump in 5 minutes before the session and learn where it goes, I guess.
I'd recommend doing at least a couple of laps of practice, because it is fun. I think that's the other thing. I really do like Brands, but Barcelona, especially given that it's a track that we've seen in the real world, and that layout has raced in World Championship competition. It's just one that's a lot of fun. What else are you doing, Craig? I mean, obviously very busy with everything at Craig's Setup Shop. We know you're a touring car driver, but it seems like the thing that you're racing the most now, at least publicly, is this Rallycross series.
Yeah, I don't get to race as much as I used to, with obviously with CSS and having a family and being married and stuff like that. So I don't get to race as much as I used to. So to get not forced to race this weekend, but have an incentive to race has been super nice. Because if I didn't have any incentive, I just not bother. And obviously it's a lot of fun. Everyone jokes around. It's not too serious, so it's easy to get back into the racing if you're doing it for just fun. I like to win. Everyone likes to win, but if I finish 4th, I'm not that upset by it. If I get wrecked out, I'm not that upset by it. I'm just here for fun, and like I said, to get to run some laps, it's good fun. I like it.
And talk to us a little bit about the car, because many faces of Craig are on it, but I think there are a couple of other members of your Craig Setup Shop community that are adorning your VW Beetle.
Yeah, I got invited quite last minute, and normally the guy who makes my paints, Yoka, couldn't do it. And I'm not an artist, so I thought, how good can we make it look? I got Fraser Williamson involved. He plastered the side of it. We got Lewis Goodway on the roof. Paul Walmsley's on the boot somewhere. I don't know how many other faces are in my face, however that sounds, but there's a couple of guys on there. We got, like I said, we got Fraser involved. We sat in TeamSpeak. We just had an absolute blast designing some wacky, weird, just crazy monstrosity, and everyone likes it.
Well, thanks for joining us, Craig. A lot of fun seeing you and the many faces of Craig around there on track. We'll see you in 7 days' time from Barcelona.
Cheers, boys. See you later. Take care.
So that was Craig Williams of Craig Setup Shop. And, well, I'm not sure if we have any more interviews, Paul, so it's time to start looking forward to the World Championship stuff. That's going to be up next on the iRacing Esports Network. The All-Stars are done. World Championship drivers ready to roll out onto track here at Brands Hatch. Don't go anywhere. Coverage resumes on the iRacing Esports Network next.
Today's new cars have upwards of 100 computers in them, and a dashboard rivaled only by a commercial airliner. But wouldn't it be nice to really know what all that does for you? At Roadshow, we demystify the world of modern transportation with reviews of your next car, the latest news on what's changing the industry, and videos covering every screen and every new feature you'll encounter in the driver's seat. Get informed, get smart, and get going with Roadshow.
Take your driving to the next level at Dirtfish. gain confidence behind the wheel of an all-wheel drive Subaru STI or rear-wheel drive BRZ. Get sideways with skills on gravel, mud, and tarmac. Dirtfish offers programs for every driver. Visit dirtfish.com for details.
This is iRacing, the world's premier online racing game. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat to experience today's newest form of competitive motorsport, virtual racing, all from your home PC. Race virtually in endorsed series from NASCAR, IndyCar, IMSA, the World of Outlaws, Aussie Supercars, and more. Take on legendary circuits like Daytona, Silverstone, and the Nürburgring. Join iRacing's global online racing community and get on track today at iRacing.com.
In 2018, Nitro Rallycross took the racing world by storm with the biggest jumps, the best drivers, and the most intense action ever. In 2021, Nitro Rallycross is expanding with 5 epic races. From the mountains to the Great Lakes, the desert, and the Sunshine State, Nitro Rallycross is coming to a racetrack near you. Nitro Rallycross, the series, revving up and taking off this September.
Welcome back to the iRacing Esports Network for coverage of the 2021 iRacing Rallycross World Championship presented by Yokohama. There's one thing that separates first place from the rest of the pack: the finish line. High-performance, race-inspired Yokohama Advan tires give you the drive to win. Discover Advan at yokohamatire.com. My name is Arjuna Kankipati, alongside is Paul Smith, as we get ready to send out 28 of sim racing's best to the track at Brands Hatch for our World Championship race. It is round 4, and 2021, Paul, has been all about Subaru Motorsports USA and John Robertson. Robertson grew up just 90 minutes away from Brands Hatch. If he wins here today, he will become the 4th driver in history to have won 3 races back-to-back. What a season it's been so far. Will it continue here today?
Yeah, already we've made it into the second third of the season here at Brands Hatch with the start of that, and well, we've had tremendous action all the way through those first 3 rounds of the championship. But yeah, Brands Hatch here today. I've been looking forward to this one all season. I cannot wait.
It's a just under 2-kilometer circuit here at Brands Hatch that we're running. It mixes in the traditional Indy layout, the shorter configuration of Brands Hatch, which is used when you run road course races here, with some dirt thrown around. Turns 1 and 2 now, partly a chicane, as you'll see at the left-hand side of the track map now. Hard braking zone, one of the hardest braking zones across the season at the longest track on the season. 62% asphalt, 38% dirt, where the Joker is a shortcut, but because it is dirt, because it is bumpy, is 1.5 seconds quicker. Debut for this track in World Championship competition, so there's not really much to look back on in terms of a form book. But what we can do, Paul, is think about our All-Star Invitational earlier this year. Just a week after this track was released to the public, we went racing in our All-Star Invitationals. The Frenchman, the defending champion, Johan Haar, took victory. But it's hard to really use that as a reflection on what we're going to see here today, because that was a fixed setup event, very different to what we're seeing here today, where the drivers will have put in the time, put in the effort to build the optimal setup for this track.
Absolutely, and putting in the time, putting in the practice is what you need in a series like this. When you're competing at such a high level, reps is what you need to do. And certainly, okay, it was a fixed setup with the All-Star Invitational at the start of the year, but it gives you that racing experience, and that's something that some of these drivers may not have as much of as Johan and those who did take part in the All-Star Invitational.
I should correct myself. I think I said John Robertson will become the 4th driver in history to have won 3 events in a row. No, that's wrong. It would be the first time we've seen a driver win 3 events in a row. We would, though, see the 4th driver in history take pole position, the Yokohama Pole Award, 3 times in a row. Robertson has been very, very quick when it comes to qualifying. Let's talk then about the way that the season has played out so far and look at our championship standings so far in 21. Subaru Motorsports USA, John Robertson, 78 points and 12 clear of Joni Ollikainen. Tommy Holman, Vicente Salas, and Kevin Ellis Jr. complete the top 5. And a reminder, the top 10 will lock themselves into our 2022 World Championship pool. So there's not just fights to, get the prize money, to get the bragging rights. You want to make sure you're locked in and you don't have to go through the qualifying series.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, the qualifying series is so intense and so hard to go through that these drivers will be desperate to finish in that top 10 of the championship, not just for the prize money that's available, but also so it gets them the automatic qualification. So yeah, it is so important to do that in this series.
So let's very quickly talk about keys to victory here. Joker re-entry, we saw that in the spring. Vicente Salas and Joni Ollikainen getting together on the Joker merge, coming to the checkered flag. You need to make sure you survive turn 1. We saw that here in our All-Star Invitational just earlier today, and avoiding slowdowns, especially through the tricky turn 1, 2, 3 complex. It is time to take a look at the first Yokohama starting grid for our World Championship here at Brands Hatch and hand out our Yokohama Pole Award. John Robertson, 3 in a row. Robertson is on a roll, becomes the 4th driver in series history to have taken 3 pole positions in a row. Vicente Salas has been impressive in 2021, has locked himself into the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series for 2022. Full focus then on Rallycross for the remainder of the year. The king of the dirt, Alex Bergeron, 22 wins when it comes to dirt oval competition for him. He'll be alongside the second of the Elliott Sadler Esports machine, Garrett Maines. Locked himself into the championship for eNASCAR action as well, finishing on the bubble. Bo Albert, Luke Krause 5th and 6th. Marcos Matamoros to complete heat number 1. We are ready to race from Brands Hatch. 5 laps on the board, getting ready to storm their way down into turn number 1. Great launch from Robertson, or was that a jump start? We will wait and see. They are 3 wide behind him. Robertson clear. Bergeron gets the elbows out immediately, side by side with fellow American driver. Bergeron's going to have a bit more contact, but holds onto his car up to second. Maines and Salas, the Elliott Sadler Esports teammates, side by side up the hill in towards Druids. They'll plunge down the hill. Robertson already 4/10 clear.
Now, did Bergeron and Salas get a slowdown penalty through the chicane there at the start? It looked very close with the anti-cut curbs. They seem to have got away with it, but yeah, I'm like you, Arjuna. I'm not so sure that John Robertson got that cleaner start. He may, if he didn't get a jump start there, that is an impressive launch.
It's what we saw with Connor Parisi in the All-Star Invitational earlier this year, so we'll have to wait and see. Only time will tell, and once we get to the conclusion of these 5 laps, left side of the screen, you'll see our points leader is highlighted in red. You'll see that over the rest of the year. Robertson in through turn 1. Salas trying to use the bumper to force Bergeron to enter this chicane a little bit wide. You can see how much of the anti-cut curb they're going to use at this point. Really attacking and hounding each other. Salas a little bit more contact as they come through the hairpin. Over the jump they'll go. Have to watch out for Maines behind because he's lurking. If anything happens here, Salas is going to get shoved off wide. He returns the favor to Bergeron. Salas into the wall, and Bo Albert comes on through.
Well, that was an unceremonious way to get past there. Bye-bye, thank you very much, and enjoy your time in the wall. See yourself in the last chance qualifiers for Salas then. He's taken a tour back to the pit, so he's not going to compete in the rest of this heat. I mean, that was rather rough, but this is Rallycross at the end of the day.
Hey, he started this season off in splendid form as Bergeron and Maines now start to duke it out for what is second position. Really impressive was Salas in the first couple of rounds. Almost took victory at Atlanta. Johan Harth playing the team game to slow down Salas and let John Robertson take a last lap joker to take victory in the Peach State. So it looks like Salas straight through to the last chance qualifiers then. Lots of work for him to do because he'll be starting near the tail end of that field as well. There'll be 2 laps to go at the line this time around. Bo Albert took to the joker last time. Marcos Matamoros and Luke Kraus both jokered on the first lap of the race. Garrett Maines goes through the bumpy joker lap. He hits the wall as well. Does it open the door for Bo Albert and the Logitech Gioltas esports car to take advantage? It's going to be close, but the overspeed will be with the Australian to the inside, and through goes Albert.
And that's what I was worried about for Bergeron and Maines, that if they started fighting a bit harder, that they would trip over each other and allow Bo to go through. Bo's got past one. It's going to be a bit more difficult to get past Bergeron in this, because now Bo Albert's got to worry about Garrett Maines behind him.
It's about 1.8 seconds the gap as Albert runs a little bit wide. Joker Delta about 1.5 seconds here, so Bergeron might be looking comfortable at this point in time to advance to a feature event. We did see Bergeron in the first feature of the season, has not qualified the last couple of races. So much iRacing World Championship experience for Alex Bergeron. He comes then through the final corner, not going to be jokering this time around, neither does John Robertson. Question remains as the white flag in the air, final trip around Brands Hatch in heat number 1. Did Robertson get a jump start or not?
Well, we'll have to wait and see, but right now, Bergeron, he's got the gap to Bo Albert to be able to come out of that joker lap ahead. Bo Albert and Garrett Maines are still duking it out there for 3rd and 4th place. That, of course, will give you the best qualifying position for that last chance qualifier, whichever one you find yourself in. And yeah, those two will duke it out. But I just think that Bergeron has got enough to get that 2nd place, an automatic qualification for the feature race.
It's 2.2 seconds. I think Bergeron's comfortable. Look at him launch it into the joker as well, clambering over the anti-cut curves, but minimizing his distance around the corner. I must say, that was an interesting line. It really shows you how comfortable he is. Robertson across the line, though, we'll have to wait and see if there's any penalty or if that was the start of Rallycross history. Robertson wins, Bergeron 2nd, Bo Albert, Garrett Maines 3rd and 4th positions. We'll wait for the cars to come across the line and take a look then at the results from Heat 1. Somehow, no penalty for John Robertson. That start will go down in history as potentially the best launch we've seen in 4 seasons of competition. Alex Bergeron advances with Robertson then through to the 10-lap feature. Albert, Maines, Matamoros, Kraus, and Salas through to the last chance qualifier. Heat number 2, Joni Ollikainen qualifies on 2nd. What a season it's been for him so far. One of 3 drivers to make it through to all 3 feature events. Killian Delomo in 2nd, Luis Nunez, Josh Fox 3rd and 4th. Jacob Rafos and Sindre Silva in 5th and 6th position, while the 38-year-old Johannes Vahanen will line up at the tail end of the field for Lonebro GRX Motorsports. Still in shock, Paul, at that start from Jake Robertson, because John Robertson, sorry, what a start that was.
That was an incredible launch. The tip of the hat to him. That was sensational.
So 5 more laps on the board. Heat 2 ready to get underway. And we're green from Brands Hatch. Great start from Delomo. Can he get the whole shot on his teammate? Ollikainen's going to go deep under the brakes. Gets that car sideways with the aid of the handbrake. He causes an almighty stack up. Nunez holds on to 3rd. Jake Fox still in 4th. No passes then in the top 4. Rafos gets his elbows out to hold off Sindre Silva. In towards Druids. No changes here on the start.
Oh, Jorna did touch the wall through turn 1, but fortunately got away with that one. Everybody flying over the jump into Graham Hill Bend, and Josh Fox, I think he got his line a little wrong though. He's coming under pressure towards the rear of the field. There you see him right now, and he's got Jacob Rafos, Sindre Silva, and Johannes Vahanen.
Rafos, pretty impressive from Brands Hatch in our All-Star Invitational earlier in 2021. The first time we really got to see the driver competing at this level of sim racing competition, attacking a 4-year veteran of the iRacing Rallycross World Championship. Ollikainen 1 second clear. Didn't get the greatest of launches. Look at this camera shot. What a camera shot it is. Look at how close to the tire barrier they get. Josh Fox still under pressure then from the car behind. About 1 second adrift from Luis Nunez up the road.
Yeah, Nunes, who did actually finish third in the qualifying series here, so he knows a little bit about being in third, but he wants to at least be one place further up in this heat to find himself automatically into the feature race. So right now, the Logitech G Altis Esports driver, he's trying his best to pedal up to Kylian Delormeau.
Sindre Silva and Johannes Vahanen have gotten together through the left-hand banked hairpin at the outside of Graham Hill Bend. Both the drivers have lost a lot of time, and I think Vahanen might indeed have had to come down onto pit road as well. You can see now on the left side he cycled himself up, usually a telltale indication that a car has had to reset back to pit lane. Let's take a look at the iRacing.com replay for exactly what happened there. Side by side on the entry is that Hemp Fusion Ford Fiesta, tries to squeeze the Subaru, and then, well, unceremoniously shoved into the wall. A 38-year-old Vahanen, nothing he could really do. Back to live pictures. 1 second separates the Set Esports teammates out front. Delormeau representing Set Team GRX, and he's now feeling the pressure from Nunes. Does Nunes come down to the Joker this time around? No, he's deciding to wait behind him. Josh Fox elects to go.
Yeah, that's a well, now that Fox is gone, you could well expect to see Nunes take the Joker in this next lap, just to do something different to Kylian Delormeau, get that little bit of extra space, clean air, he's not getting held up by the car in front, and maybe try and push on for the final 2 laps.
On board with the Spaniard representing Logitech G Altis Esports. Slides his, a little bit of contact there on the wall as well, slides his way in through Druid. You can see they're running themselves out wide. That's just to pick up a little bit more extra speed on the run down the hill. It's not always about minimizing distance, it's about finding grip, and sometimes it's in unusual positions. Ollikainen looking comfortable though, now 1.4 seconds the advantage between him and the cars behind. Good qualifying performance for Ollikainen so far this season, qualified on pole at Daytona, 4th at Atlanta and Iowa, now a 2nd to continue that streak of momentum. Nunes to the Joker this time around, plenty of clean air to go. Less than 2 kilometers left on the clock as we have the final lap here at Brands Hatch.
He's got a bit of a task at hand now as Nunes to try and get that Joker Delta and to try and make that last lap count, but Yone doing a fantastic job up at the front for Set Esports.
Over the jump, he'll come. Tire tracks followed by Kylian Delormeau. The Delormeau family well represented here in the World Championship Series. We'll see Quintin Delormeau, one of the brothers, representing Kligerman Sport in a bit of time. Delormeau finished 4th on his first feature race appearance last time out at Iowa. Looks to back that up with a trip straight through to the feature as well. Ollikainen and Delormeau over the jumps, out of the final corner, and Ollikainen will win heat number 2. Kylian Delormeau advances with him. Heat 2 was very clean, very respectful. Not necessarily what you expect from the cage match on wheels that is Rallycross action. Wait for Sindre Silva to come across the line. Let's take a look then at results from heat number 2. Ollikainen and Delormeau advance. Luis Nunes, Josh Fox, Jacob Rafal, Sindre Silva, and Johannes Vahanen heading through to the last chance qualifiers. Yokohama starting grid for heat number 3. Kevin Ellis Jr. What a performance from him 7 days ago. Took 2nd place from Iowa. He'll line up alongside the youngest driver in the field, Jarno Leskinen, 13 years of age. Jake Robertson will line up alongside Rasmus Tuominen, who won here in the qualifying series. Toni Latinmäki, Tommi Nukarainen, 5th and 6th position. Thomas Wangen for Team Yokohama lines up then at the end of this heat. He's been one of our hard chargers so far this season, currently leading our Hard Charger Award rankings. Look at the staggered formation of cars. Rows of 2, fanning themselves one way across the track and then the other. 5 laps back on the board. Heat 3 ready to get underway. And away we go. Ellis Jr. gets the launch Already, Tuominen is attacking to the inside of Leskinen. Bit of contact further back for the second of the RLL machines. Wangen shoves Jake Robertson wide. Robertson still aggressive on the inside, though, holding back no more is Robertson, causing an almighty stack up out through Druids. It's Ellis Jr., Leskinen, and Wangen, the top three. Wangen somehow able to take advantage of all of that carnage and chaos to work himself up the field.
Yeah, I think Latinmäki and Jake Robertson have fallen foul of all of that. Even more contact. Tuominen is around. Oh, Rasmus, no, that's not what you need down there at Graham Hill Bend. It's absolute carnage here on lap 1, and that's allowing Ellis Jr. and Leskinen to pull away at the front.
What did I just say about Heat 2 being clean? It was inevitable, a bounce-back reaction, you would think, as Ellis Jr. and Jarno Leskinen now about 3 seconds clear of Thomas Wangen in third. So looking good for these two drivers to advance, two rookies in the series. Of course, Jarno, 13 years of age, but plenty of experienced heads to help him through this World Championship campaign. Josh Fox's teammate at Hanson Williams Esports, but of course they've got Sami Matti Trogan, the 2019 champion, to give them plenty of advice when it comes to keeping your cool. Here's a look at the replay on the start. You can see Robertson unceremoniously shoved through turn number 1. Tuominen and Leskinen duke it out side by side, and there you can see Robertson trying to get some payback in effect for what happened in turn 1, being a little bit too aggressive. Latinmäki and Robertson pay the price.
Yeah, we say it's cage fighting on wheels. Well, that was just straight out of pro wrestling's playbook right there. Oh, you're going to hit me? Well, I'll have you back, and this time with a chair. That's what that looked like right there. But the front two. Now, if these two are smart up here at the front, they won't fight each other, because at the end of the day, they're getting themselves qualified automatically through to the feature race, and that's all that they need to do. Leskinen doesn't need to fight Ellis Jr. Yes, it gives you a better starting position in the feature race, but right now, you don't need to fight too hard.
I mean, these are two drivers fighting over the Dirtfish Rookie of the Year award. Leskinen, who made the feature in the first couple of races, showed very strongly what he's made of in the opening rounds. Kevin Ellis Jr., as a result of that second place finish last time around, has taken the advantage in the Rookie of the Year standings. And thanks to our partners at Dirtfish, our 2021 Dirtfish Rookie of the Year will receive a complimentary 3-day course from Dirtfish, the official rallying school of iRacing Rallycross. 2 laps to go then. They'll head downhill in towards Druids. I love that shot of the cars using that anti-cut curb as a ramp onto the chicane. This is Thomas Wangen and Tommy Nukarainen very close for third. These two drivers don't want to battle too hard, because if they let the likes of Latinmäki and Robertson close on up, it's grid position for the last chance qualifiers. They're side by side over the jump. There's always a risky proposition. Wangen holds on for now, but Nukarainen looking aggressive.
Yeah, if you make contact mid-air, it can fire one or if not both of you way off track. So definitely one to keep an eye on. Oh, speaking of keeping an eye on, that's Leskinen to the Joker lap.
Now we'll wait and see what the clean air will be from the young Finnish driver. There you can see the results on the season so far. 10th at Daytona, 6th at Atlanta. And of course, didn't qualify then for the feature last time out. So left side of the screen, you can see the cars that have taken to the Joker. The tower will light up when cars take that 1.5 second penalty. Potentially the first time that we'll see these last lap Jokers, which is typically what you expect when you're leading a race and comfortable, especially when it's not a shortcut, but instead a penalty that you must pay. Jake Robertson, heat race goes from bad to worse. He's had an issue. Will finish down the tail end of the field. Ellis Jr. through the bumps and through the Joker. That's an interesting line. Not sure if that's going to be dinged by the iRacing race control. It will net him Heat 3 victory. Back-to-back Heat 3 victories for the Rahal Lenneman-Lanigan driver of Kevin Ellis Jr. Jarno Leskinen advances through with the Scotsman, Thomas Wangen, Tommy Nukarainen, Tony Latinmäki, Rasmus Tuominen, and Jake Robertson. We'll have to now head to our last chance qualifiers. Barney the flagman having to wave that checkered flag for some time as we wait for Robertson to cross the line. Here's a look then at those results from Heat 3. Rahal, Lenneman, Lanigan at the front and the back of the standings. Leskinen in second, Wangen, Nukrainen, Latinmäki, and Tuominen through 6th position. Final Yokohama starting grid for our heat, as Heat 4 is ready to get underway. Tommy Holman, victorious at Daytona, lines up alongside the defending Rallycross champion. Johan Hart has not enjoyed the best start to his title defense that he might have been hoping for. Let's see what he can do on the outside of the front row. Atu Hakaleto, Otto Taskinen, 3rd and 4th positions. The second Delomo in action today, Quintin Delomo in his rookie campaign alongside the Frenchman Louis Lejeune. Matt Busa competed yesterday in the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series season finale from Texas. Now full focus on his Rallycross campaign for the rest of 2021. One more heat, 5 more laps on the board, 2 more trips straight to our 10-lap feature. And we are racing from Brands Hatch. Good start from Harth. What can he do to challenge for the race lead? Holman and Harth side by side. Somehow the Frenchman makes it work. Supremely confident. Harth to the front. Holman hits the wall, and he's going to cause a bit of a stack up behind. Taskinen and Hakaleto battling over 3rd and 4th position. Taskinen to the inside of Tommy Holman.
Oh, this is the opportunity for somebody else to get the move done on Holman, but they're too busy fighting over each other to be able to get the move on Tommy, to take advantage of what happened there. He clipped the wall. That put him out of line through the chicane at Paddock Bend, and that gave them the opportunity there, but they just didn't take it.
Look at the gap that the Frenchman's already built up as Louis Lejeune in the Sonac Ed Carpenter racing car takes to the Joker on the first lap of the race. Atu Hakaleto looking for his first feature race appearance in the 2021 campaign. Vermont sports car with a lineup of young and talented drivers. We saw Jacob Rafoss making his first feature race start last time out. Hakaleto wants to follow him through this time around as well. Through the chicane they'll go, running themselves all the way up to the wall. Tommy Holman, 7/10 clear of Hakaleto, who has managed to bully his way past the Nitro Circus car of Otto Taskinen. Louis Lejeune, the only car taking to the Joker on the very first lap, Paul.
Yeah, well, he was at the back of the field anyway, so it wasn't really a risk. It was get it out the way and then just really focus on putting those hard, fast laps in here. But everyone now just staying off of that Joker lap, just one driver headed down the Joker for this time by, I do believe that was Matt Busa, who's dropped to the back of the field. But Hakaleto, Taskinen, Quintin Delomo as well, all together here. And right now, they're not really catching up to the 2 leaders, and that's just meaning that they're sort of cementing themselves into that last chance qualifiers.
And for Tommy Holman, Paul, I mean, one to kick off the season in what was a really close finish between him and his teammate Joni Ollikainen. And I really thought Holman would be one of the championship favorites this year. But then he went to Atlanta 7 days after Daytona, didn't qualify for the feature, didn't have the best qualifying performance either, at 11th on the grid heading into the heat races. Bounced back in Iowa to get a top 5 finish. He needs consistency here as we ride on board Quintin Delomo down to the Joker along with Otto Taskinen.
Yeah, working their way through. You can see how bumpy that Joker lap is, and that's why it's so slow through there. Onto the brakes for turn 1. No move being made, so Otto stays in front, although Delomo does look to the inside, clips the wall there. So easily done, because you look at how millimetre perfect these drivers are having to drive to use up all of the available track and then some.
I do also love the 199 design. It is one of my favorite cars in the grid. Really just fun. That's what Nitro Circus is about, isn't it? Fun, fun, fun. Maybe we'll see the 199 Travis Pastrana in some of our All-Star Invitationals now that Nitro Rallycross is on a bit of a hiatus after the first couple of weekends. Had some exciting racing action as Rallycross in America kicked up to another level. Johan Hart, Tommy Holman into turn 1, final lap of the race. 1 second separating these two drivers. Atu Hakoleto 1.5 back, so Hakoleto not really a threat at this point in time, and Hakoleto is going to finish in third here because Otto Taskinen 3 seconds adrift from third position. There's a look at the results for the defending champion. 4th and 3rd to kick things off, but then Iowa, not an easy race to say the very least for Hearth.
Certainly wasn't, but he's not had the best of qualifying. He'll be honest with us with that, but he'll be happy to get into yet another feature race here in this round of the championship.
And I think that's kind of what we're seeing is Hearth having to split his focus, defend his title, also trying to reclaim, become the first multi-disciplined world champion on the iRacing service in the Dallara iRacing Grand Prix Championship. Out of the final corner, though, the Frenchman takes heat number 4. Tommy Holman will advance with Johan Hart. So heat races are done. We've got 2 last chance qualifiers and just 2 positions left at the tail end of our feature event here at Brands Hatch. Here's a look at the results. Johan Hart, Tommy Holman through. The rest of the drivers through the scramble of the last chance qualifiers. So let's take a look at the Yokohama starting grid for the first of the last chance qualifiers. Bo Albert has had absolutely no luck in 2021. Can he avoid being bullied on the run into turn 1? Thomas Wangen alongside. Great performance so far from Wangen on the start in his heat. What can he do alongside? Garrett Maines, Tommy Nukarainen, 3rd and 4th. Marcos Matamoros and Tony Latin-Mackie, 5th and 6th positions. While Luke Kraus and Rasmus Torminen, 7th and 8th. 2 drivers at the back of this last chance qualifier that we might have expected a bit more from. Vicente Salas and Jake Robertson. Plenty of work for them to do. 10 drivers will grid up. We'll say goodbye to 9 of them after these next 5 laps as the first of the last chance qualifiers gets underway. You can see that staggered formation of the cars as they'll lean on the launch control and wait for the lights to go out. We are racing from Brands Hatch. It's a good launch from Bo Albert, who will defend the inside. Wangen tries to send it around the outside. Albert gets turned, but holds onto his car in some sort of miracle. Rasmus Torminen will scramble through the chaos, go up into second. They are still crashing through the chicane.
The question I have for Bo Albert is, has he got any damage though from that contact? He went into the wall hard. He could have suspension damage, which could cause him issues. You can see the whole left-hand side of his car is pushed in. That is substantial damage. Now, he's keeping at the front here, and he's clear of Toivonen right now. He's potentially looking at making himself a feature race appearance. Here we go.
How happy would Bo Albert be as we'll take a look at the aerial shot of the start. Top 2 get away. They continue to wreck behind them. I think Jake Robertson gets involved in the middle of that second incident. And across the line, Albert and Tominen, they're clear of the rest of the field now.
And there's smoke in the background of that shot then, so something's happened down the start and finish straight. This first last chance qualifier has just been absolute carnage. Speaking of carnage, flying off the track there. I believe that was Salas.
It was. It continues to go wrong for Salas after such an impressive start in his 2021 Rallycross campaign. He'll end up watching on from the sidelines for the second race in a row. Something else happened to Jake Robertson. I think that was the car that we saw with a big puff of smoke last time around. Albert Jokers. Jokers early as well.
Oh, not the best run potentially through there. He was getting caught by Rasmus Toivonen out there. So Rasmus potentially has got the hope of a win here. Here's what happened. This is that's all on the start finish straight, and Jake Robertson into the wall, and that's it. Good night. He takes the tour to the pits.
I don't even think he was necessarily responsible there. He was minding his own business, and just, I think it was Tommy Nukarainen in his Subaru, contact with Salas, and, well, Robertson gets the worst of it. It's not going to be 2 Robertsons in our feature event like we've seen the last couple of races. For Rahal, Letterman, Lanigan, at least one of their cars through to the feature. Does Tominen go down this time around? I'd be surprised. I'd now wait to the last lap of the race, even if Albert's a little bit quicker. That gap, 1.1 seconds. Albert has the Joker covered off now.
Yeah, but for how long? The gap's sort of fluctuating right now, and I think it's through some of these turns that Bo Albert is struggling a little bit here. This is going to be a crucial end to this race. I would expect to see Toivonen take it on the last lap, the Joker.
See what will happen then. Saw that Bo Albert has made one feature this season. Of course, that was at Atlanta, where didn't really even get past turn number 1. Did Bo Albert. Finished at the tail end of the field. He's made 3 feature appearances in the 10 races leading up to this one. Can he make it a 4th? Or would Rasmus Toivonen become the first multiple last chance qualifier winner in this season so far? We've had 6 of these races so far. 6 individual winners. Lots to play for with a trip to our feature on the line, where the majority of our points are paid out. One more time around Brands Hatch for some of these drivers.
But look at that gap now. Crucially, Toivonen is very close to being on that threshold, and I think Bo Albert is actually, he's on the cusp of losing a potential victory here.
That's the line that we were expecting to see. Cars just searching for that extra grip. Even if it looks a little bit weird, it's where the speed is. You can see the gap on the left side of your screen now, fluctuating back and forth. Out of Graham Hill Bend, they slide themselves. One final corner to go. Toivonen to the Joker, and over the bumps. That's a much cleaner entry than what we saw from Bo Albert. But Albert on the tarmac will have the speed coming to the line. Is it enough, or will Toivonen advance? It's a drag race to the line. It looks like Toimonen's in control. It's going to be close. It is not close enough. Rasmus Toivonen becomes the first multiple last chance qualifier winner in 2021. Bo Albert misses out by 1/10 of a second. And if that's an indication of what to expect from the second of the last chance qualifiers, well, I'm not sure what to expect other than more chaos and more carnage. Here's a look at the results. Toivonen advances. We say goodbye to the rest of the 9 drivers. They'll be watching on from the sidelines for the remainder of today's action. Let's take a look then at the starting grid, the Yokohama starting grid for the second of these last chance qualifiers. Luis Nunez, who won at Iowa in our last chance qualifiers last week, alongside Atu Hakoleto, Josh Fox, Otto Taskinen, row number 2. Jacob Rafals and Quintin Delhomme, 5th and 6th positions, with Sindre Silva, Louis Lejeune, Johannes Vahanen, and Matt Busa completing our 10 cars ready to go. Paul, that was pretty intense in that last chance qualifier. I'm not expecting anything less from this one.
Yeah, this is going to be absolutely crazy. Keep your heads, guys. Anyone can qualify here, but if you all end up having a crash at turn 1, then no one will be able to fight whoever comes out that turn 1 cleanest.
So here we go. Launch control ready to send these cars 0 to 60 in 2.5 seconds. Oh, that's a definite jump start from Matt Busa at the tail end of the field. But away we go. Luis Nunez trying to cover off the run from Hakoleto. Taskinen looking to the outside. Josh Fox trying to slip it down the inside. It's happened once again. Turn 1 proves to be a disaster zone for so many competitors. Somehow, Sindre Silva works himself up to 2nd position.
Well, this is absolutely crazy from these guys. They're all that desperate to make it to the lead of this last chance qualifier in turn 1. They're forgetting that the race isn't won on turn 1, lap 1. It's won at the end of the race. And really, you're that desperate and launching your cars in and using it as a battery ram to that extent is just not good enough at all. So Luis Nunez has done everything right, got a clean start, and finds himself at the front of the field.
Atu Hakoleto to the Joker. Here's a look at the replay. 3 wide on the entry to the corner. Not sure what happens between Hakoleto and Fox, but Fox turns in a bit early, gets into the wall. He causes the stack up heading down the hill into that chicane. 3 cars immediately down onto pit road. Otto Taskinen, Johannes Vahanen, along with Matt Busa. So not the best of days for any of those drivers. We'll say goodbye to them. wait to say hello from Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. Louis Lejeune chasing down Sindre Silva, Jacob Rafals, 1.1 seconds ahead of these two competitors. But Luis Nunez, 1.8 seconds clear, calm and comfortable in front. Made his first feature event last time out from Iowa, didn't have the best of runs in the cornfields, but looking good, and he was pretty quick when we came here for our All-Star Invitational earlier this year. Sindre Silva to the Joker this time around for Team Yokohama. There's the bumps, there's the interesting line. Comes out just behind Louis Lejeune.
Yeah, Team Yokohama not having the best of seasons this season, I would say. Well, finding themselves in this last chance qualifier and taking that Joker lap when he did, but halfway through this race, it's really not much that you can do here. He's that far behind now because Luis Nunez, by the way, if I'm reading this right on my timing screen, 4.5 seconds.
You're reading it right. He's also the fastest car on the track by a country mile, about half a second quicker than anyone else. Just gives us an indication of the raw talent that Nunez has. Bo Albert has spoken about how excited he's been to have a teammate like Nunez able to push him forward. Both of them delighted to be able to represent Logitech G Altus Esports in this World Championship. And of course, Bo Albert competing from the Altus team house. Second consecutive feature appearance for Nunez. If the Spaniard, 17 years of age, can hang on. It must be said as well, Bo Albert in that Altus team house didn't have the easiest start to his days because Australia, known for its vicious nature at time, that was a rather nasty spider from what it sounds like that was sitting on a sim racing rig, and so Albert had to go hunting for the spider and then make sure it was not gonna, you know, bite him like Peter Parker had.
Yeah, the only difference is that it wouldn't give him superpowers, so that's the thing. As they head on through Clark Curve once again towards the end of the lap. Yeah, but do you know what the funny thing is? When I went out to Australia, I never saw one of those huge spiders ever. Maybe I wasn't looking hard enough.
Really? I've only been to Australia once, but I definitely saw some wildlife. Now, it's interesting. I saw a couple of snakes as well, but that's a story for another time. Final lap then. In the last of these last chance qualifiers, Nunez in control, 4 seconds clear. Spanish driver looking comfortable to take the victory here today. And of course, being in Europe, Nunez is going to be feeling right at home. We'll be heading to his homeland next, the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. Today, though, it's all about Brands Hatch. Such a historic facility, has seen plenty of rallycross action in the past. Now hosts its first iRacing World Championship event. Nunez out of the Joker and across the line to win the second last chance qualifier. Nunez makes it through to his second consecutive feature event. It's a close finish further back, but it doesn't matter. No points on the line, just bragging rights. Sindre Silva will finish in second. Jacob Rafals in third, Atu Hakoleto in fourth. Two Vermont sports car teammates pretty comfortable and looking stronger and stronger as the season goes on. Louis Lejeune in fifth, Quintin Delhomme sixth, Josh Fox, Johannes Vahanen, Otto Taskinen, and Matt Busa all saying goodbye here from Brands Hatch. So 10 more laps here from Brands Hatch. The points are ready to be paid out. Don't go anywhere. Feature racing action in the iRacing Rallycross World Championship presented by Yokohama. Coming up next on the iRacing Esports Network.
This is iRacing, the world's premier online racing game. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat to experience today's newest form of competitive motorsport, virtual racing, all from your home PC. Race virtually in endorsed series from NASCAR, IndyCar, IMSA, the World of Outlaws, Aussie Supercars and more. Take on legendary circuits like Daytona, Silverstone and the Nürburgring. Join iRacing's global online racing community and get on track today at iRacing.com.
It's feature racing time in the 2021 iRacing Rallycross World Championship presented by Yokohama. There's one thing that separates first place from the rest of the pack: the finish line. High-performance, race-inspired Yokohama Advan tires give you the drive to win. Discover Advan at yokohamatire.com. My name is Arjuna Kankipati, alongside is Paul Smith, as we get set to see the first World Championship Rallycross race from Brands Hatch. It's been chaotic, it's been frenetic to say the very least, but Paul, now is when the points get handed out.
Yeah, this is when you earn those big championship points towards your ultimate goal as to become a world champion here. And well, for people like Johan Harf, he'll be wanting a really good point score to challenge John Robertson. We've got a bit of a pile up there down at the Graham Hill Bend, but John Robertson won last time out. He really has the ability and the talent to get another win here, but it will be tough.
And if Robertson wins, it would be history-making, not just the first winner at Brands Hatch. The first time the Rallycross World Championship would have seen a driver win 3 races in a row. Mitchell de Jong, Joni Heikkinen, they've won 2 in a row respectively. No one has gone for the three-peat in 3 previous seasons of Rallycross action. Let's talk a little bit then about the prizes that our drivers are fighting for. Total prize pool, $25,000. $10,000, of course, to our winner. It's been the story of all 4 seasons of this campaign, but we've got awards as well. We've got our Yokohama Pole Awards. John Robertson already has 3 of them this year. Dirtfish Rookie of the Year, that's not just for money, but for a 3-day driving course by the official rallying partner of iRacing Rallycross, Dirtfish. Most Improved Driver, currently Vicente Salas leads that, but he's been not really enjoying the best of runs since the second place finish at Atlanta, and then a hard charger. Whichever car can make up the most positions from their qualifying positions, Thomas Wangen currently leads those points. Paul, you wanted to talk a little bit more about the history of this venue, not just rallycross action, not just motorcycles that of course started here when it was just dirt, but so much heritage at a place like this.
Yeah, of course. It hosted the 2012 Paralympics here, and Alex Zanardi, who raced here in motor racing, raced in the hand cycling, won 2 Paralympic gold medals, and we still wish Alex all the best on his recovery.
But we are ready to go racing. Let's turn up the most famous song in all of esports and take a look at our Yokohama starting grid for the feature event here in Brands Hatch. For the 3rd race in a row, John Robertson will lead us to the green flag. Joni Ollikainen looks to break his duck of victories in 2021, but Kevin Ellis Jr., Johan Harf lock out row number 2. Alex Bergeron, the king of the dirt with 22 World Championship wins on the dirt oval side of things, will line up then in 5th, his best starting position in a feature alongside Killian Delhomme. Jarno Leskinen, Tommy Holman, Rasmus Torminen, and Luis Nunez complete the 10 drivers ready to race. This is a tough one, Paul. Quick prediction from you before we go racing.
I think if he gets a good start, this is going to be John Robertson's day.
I'm going to go with you as well. Pretty boring, but it's the same safe pick. 10 laps on the board. Feature race about to get underway. And we are racing from Brands Hatch. Great launch from Johan Harf, who looks to make it 3 wide on the run down into turn number 1. Great shot of the cars as they funnel their way into the corner. Robertson gets bullied. Ollikainen gets on through. Some contact between Harf and Robertson. Robertson drops down the order. There's more carnage behind them, but crucially, Joni Ollikainen has scampered away with the race lead.
Yeah, that's a big start for Yoni right there at the front. He's got the start that he needed. Kevin Ellis Jr. got caught up in an instant further down as well. That sent him with himself and Alex Bergeron, I do believe it was, who was up on 2 wheels. But my goodness, what a perfect start for Yoni Olakainen right there. Bullies his way past John Robertson at the start, and then, well, John Robertson and Johan Harth, teammates, but they're both fighting for a championship.
And it was the slightest of touches between those two drivers, but it was enough to send Robertson wide and to let the gap build up. Here's a look at the start. You can see Olakainen was deep under the brakes. Gets a little bit of a touch, does Robertson, from Kevin Ellis behind, but this is crucial. On that run through the chicane, you can see, don't even think it was necessarily Harth's fault. You could see just how much commotion there was in the background. But that little bit of contact sent Robertson wide, has allowed Olakainen to break away. 2 seconds still the gap out front. Robertson half a second behind the defending champion in second position. Look at this mad scramble of cars, though. Tommy Holman took full advantage. 4 positions gained from where he started. Not the best track position heading into this feature, but he's running up in 4th in front of Alex Bergeron.
Yeah, got himself good track position right now. On the one driver taken to the Joker so far, Killian Delomo, but he's way back at the rear, so I don't expect to see him moving forward at all. But there's the young man from Aylesbury there on screen, working hard, working the wheel. Again, you see just these lines that these drivers are able to take just lap after lap, the consistency that they both show. And interesting, John Robertson, he takes that tighter line through Druids, whereas Johan Harth takes that really wide line out into the gravel trap.
Oh, Bergeron trying to get bullied is Bergeron as Kevin Ellis Jr. tries to get back on pass. Ellis Jr., who got mixed up in all the action, will take to the Joker this time around. Try and find himself a little bit of clean air. Remember, it's 1.5 seconds slower. Bumpy, full of dirt. Ellis Jr. might actually now fall behind Jarno Leskinen, so not going to be clean track for him. There you can see the Rahal Lenneman-Lanigan machine has been through the wars already. And Rasmus Torminen looks to his inside. On board we ride with the Scotsman. Very impressive second place finish last time from Iowa. Has made it through to the feature once more. He's looking for a victory. That was the one goal he had on his mind coming into the season. Deliver the kind of pace that we saw from him in the qualifying series. It was on full display in the cornfields of Iowa. Staying in Europe was impressive at Brands Hatch in the All-Star Invitational. I would suspect, though, that Barcelona, Catalunya, we may see Ellis Jr. really mixing it up at the front. Gap out front, Jani Olakainen starting to pull away as Nunes takes to the Joker this time around. Olakainen has got that Delta Joker covered. I think Olakainen is looking comfortable. I said the same thing at Daytona when we saw Tommy Holman scream around his outside to take the victory.
Well, his teammate is in this race, but he's a bit further back this time, isn't he? He's not there on his bumper, so Yone looking for his first win of the season right now. He's in a good position so far. I wouldn't expect to see him go for a Joker lap right until the last lap.
Almost halfway through this one is over the jump. Great shot. Look at them land as well. Oh, camera almost got obliterated there, but seemingly very, very sturdy. That's the great thing about iRacing. You can place cameras wherever you want. Something I've heard from talking to the likes of Radio Show Limited, some of the coverage that they've done for the iRacing special events. Robertson has fallen off the back of Johan Harth, now 9 seconds adrift. It doesn't look like history will be wrote here today. Robertson will have to restart that charge to become the first driver in Rallycross history to win 3 races in a row. Halfway through this race, 5 laps still to go.
Yeah, Robertson needs some sort of assistance, I feel, to be able to get any chance of a win here today. He's got his teammate in front, and right now they'll be focused on just hitting the markers, getting the quick lap times out of these vehicles. And to be honest, if I'm Robertson, I'm not too worried about getting the win here. He's still on for a good ton of points here that will help him in his championship fight.
It's all about consistency at the end of the day, and very consistent the last couple of races, 2 consecutive wins to build off the podium at the start of the season. Would make it 4 races, 4 podiums if things hold as they are. Holman about 2 seconds behind the battle for third. Doesn't look like the said esports driver is going to be a big factor in the podium equation. On board with your defending champion, Johan Harth, who of course will be busy this coming week. Head up the M25, about 2 hours drive from Brands Hatch to Silverstone, where tomorrow the Force Dynamic Dallara iRacing Grand Prix Championship will have its 5th round of the calendar, as they slide their way then back through onto the tarmac. Still waiting for the top 6 to come down in Joker. Nunez, Ellis Jr., Torminen, and Delomo, as you can see on the left side, have taken to the Joker. No one in the top 3 comes down this time around.
And I wouldn't expect to see them heading down either. I think Leskinen has just taken to the Joker. There he is, right as I say that. So the young man from Naantali in Finland, just losing out the places due to the faster pace on track of those 2 going past. Although little contact with Kevin Ellis Jr., a little more. Now Kevin is someone who can give it back, and that's exactly what you're seeing right there.
But that was clean. I mean, yes, they made contact, but they did so in the right way. And of course, these are 2 drivers fighting for your Dirtfish Rookie of the Year. So Ellis Jr. currently has the advantage, also a nose in front, but over the jump, all sorts of sideways for Ellis Jr., who's going to try and slide it down the inside. Going to take advantage, but a bit more contact. That's going to send both of them into the wall. That's just disappointing stuff, but hard but clean racing. They were putting on a show for us leading up to that contact.
I can imagine what sort of language is being used by Kevin right now, and it won't be broadcastable, that's for sure. But yeah, it was all good and hard and fair until, yeah, Graham Hill Bend happened, unfortunately. Meanwhile, the top 3, they're still as they are.
Sorry.
John Robertson, is he getting a little bit closer?
No. What's happened to Alex Bergeron? There you see, pointing the wrong way in through turn number 1. He was looking on course for a career best 5th position in the Rallycross World Championship, but the multi-time World of Outlaws Sprint Car Champion not really enjoying the best time on that transition back onto the dirt. So we'll wait and see what happened to him. Robertson has to do something, though. It will be white flag. 1 more lap to go this time around. Bounces his way onto the Joker. Ollikainen and Harth stay out there for that final time around.
Yeah, and Harth now will be hoping that he can just stay ahead. Here's what happened to Bergeron then. Goes into turn 1. Oh, he got that all wrong. Wrong line there. That's yeah, that's not ideal there, Alex.
Not the first time we've seen cars making a mistake like that. So to be fair, it is something rather common. Ollikainen and Harth to the Joker this time around. Robertson might actually be within the window to leapfrog his teammate and the defending champion. We will wait and see, because back onto the tarmac for the final time, Joni Ollikainen. He took victory to close off 2020 in wine country at Sonoma. He's been consistent to start things off in 2021. It's taken 4 races, but Ollikainen finally wins once more. Joni Ollikainen takes his 3rd career iRacing Rallycross World Championship victory. Harth and Robertson in close pursuit, but Harth will take 2nd. The defending champion looks to try and rebound after a disappointing opening start to this season. Ollikainen on top and returns to victory lane. He's going to be an interesting force to watch now in Europe, Paul, because I think Barcelona Catalunya might be a place that Ollikainen looks very strong.
Yeah, certainly. He looked very good here today. Got the perfect start to this race, and yeah, there you see him, 2.4 seconds in the lead.
And for the 2nd time in 2021, it's 2 said esports cars and 2 Subaru cars to complete the top 4. This time it's 2 Subarus, though, on the podium. Ollikainen, Harth, and Robertson. 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. Tommy Holman, after starting down in 8th, works his way up to 4th position, but Luis Nunez from 10th to 5th. What a result for the young Spanish driver. His 2nd consecutive feature race appearance. He builds then on the 10th place finish last time in Iowa. Rasmus Toivonen with a return to feature racing action after missing out in Atlanta. Not the best of days for him, though, overall. Killian Delomo, Alex Bergeron, Kevin Ellis Jr., and Jarno Leskinen complete the feature race results. Kevin Ellis Jr., Jarno Leskinen might be a little bit frustrated with one another. Burn the house down, Joni Ollikainen. You deserve it. We'll be right back on the iRacing Esports Network with post-race coverage here. You're watching the iRacing Rallycross World Championship presented by Yokohama.
Nitro Rallycross took the racing world by storm with the biggest jumps, the best drivers, and the most intense action ever. In 2021, Nitro Rallycross is expanding with 5 epic races. From the mountains to the Great Lakes, the desert, and the Sunshine State, Nitro Rallycross is coming to a racetrack near you. Nitro Rallycross, the series, revving up and taking off this September.
Welcome back to post-race coverage from round 4 of the 2021 iRacing Rallycross World Championship presented by Yokohama. There's one thing that separates first place from the rest of the pack: the finish line. High-performance, race-inspired Yokohama Advan tires give you the drive to win. Discover Advan at yokohamatire.com. My name is Arjuna Kankipati. Alongside for the action is Paul Smith, with the birthday boy Tyler Maxon in the production truck, controlling all the action. Paul Brands had it all. The thrill of winning, the agony of defeat. Joni Ollikainen, though, now a 3-time winner in the World Championship. He controlled this race from lights to flag.
Yeah, it was tremendous stuff, wasn't it? And got the ideal start there, did Joni, and was able to get the move done into turn 1, and then just able to pull away while the rest of the field were all busy fighting with each other and tripping over each other on the opening lap. That opening lap was crucial for Joni right there here today, and he'll be absolutely delighted with victory here today. It really gets his championship fight back into fruition here.
Well, let's start then with our podium interviews, and let's start with your defending, or I should say, current points leader, John Robertson of Subaru Motorsports USA. 2 victories coming into this one, John. You live only about 90 minutes away from this track, so I'm sure you would have loved to make it 3 in a row, but unfortunate for you, just a bit too much contact on the opening lap. Joni didn't give you a chance after that.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously qualified on pole, got the heat win by quite a margin, but we just couldn't do anything in the feature. We got through T1 okay, but everyone just came barreling in through T2, and there was no way to avoid it. It was just chaos, to be honest. But yeah, to get a P3 out of that, I'm pretty happy. It's kind of like one of the rounds where I was kind of dreading it, just dreading the starts. So yeah, I can't be unhappy with that result.
Talk to us about qualifying, because clearly you have got something figured out. 3 consecutive Yokohama pole awards. I don't know if you know this, but Johan Harth, Joni Heikkinen, Mitchell de Jong, they've all done 3 in a row. No one has got 4 in a row. So if you can continue the streak up next time, history books are awaiting you.
Yeah, it'll certainly be tough. I think it's just kind of the way that we've been practicing for these races. We've really got the routine of qualifying down. We've all kind of get into a rhythm, we get in the session. So once we start the lap, it's kind of just muscle memory, I guess, doing the lap. But yeah, I'm certainly not complaining. Pole's a nice place to be when you've got all the stuff happening behind you.
And one final question. I have to ask you about that start on that heat, because I was convinced you would jump the start. You managed to get the leapfrog on everyone there. How close was it? How close was that to a jump start?
I don't even know. It must have been close. I just saw the green flicker for the tiniest bit, and I just clamped down on the throttle. But yeah, it must have been close. I don't even know how close it was.
I have a feeling that's the best launch we've seen in 4 years of World Championship Rallycross action. So congratulations, John. I know you would have loved a victory, but third, I mean, you've been on the podium every single round of the season. Your championship hunt, you talked about consistency. Consistency's been the name of the game. We'll see you in 7 days from Barcelona. Great drive today.
Cheers, guys.
So that was John Robertson, the current points leader. And we'll now bring on in Johan Hart, the defending Rallycross World Champion. Paul Smith is standing by.
Well, I would be standing by, but apparently we've lost Johan at the moment, so that's unfortunate for us here. Technical difficulties. You got to love live broadcasting, haven't you, Arjuna?
Well, we'll do it live, as they say. I tell you what, while we wait to potentially get Johan back on the line, let's bring in our race winner, Joni Ollikainen. Joni, congratulations, third career victory. It took a couple more races than I'm sure you would have liked, because it was very close between you and your teammate Tommy Holman at Daytona, but you've been consistent this year, and consistency was rewarded with a great victory here.
Yeah, thanks. I'm quite happy. It's been couple of races when we haven't had pace to race for win, so I'm quite happy to finally have the pace again. I've been quite lucky, to say the least, to score those good positions and not get crashed in heats and finals, so yeah, feels good.
Were you a bit nervous about Brands, because it is especially turn one, it is a tight corner, plenty of opportunity for chaos, and we saw it basically every time after we finished our heats. Last chance qualifiers were a bloodbath at time, and the feature race itself was a pretty interesting start there.
Yeah, the turn one is always quite tough here. It's so narrow, and there's 10 cars trying to improve their positions, so we knew it will be tough, but I think I was quite lucky, because I made some mistakes in my qualifying lap, so I finished P2 in qualifying, so that way I got P2 starting position for final, and actually at his track P2 is quite a lot better starting position than pole position, so I knew I have a good chance to take the lead in turn one, so yeah, I was quite confident going into final, and it worked out well, so I'm happy.
Do you remember, Joni, what track you said you hated the most, or you were looking forward to the least coming into this season?
Yeah, I think I have to change that answer now, because it looks like this is good track for me, but yeah, this track is quite fun to drive like alone, but just because all the carnage in turn one and start, it's quite crazy in races, so it's not my favorite because of that, but yeah, I guess it's not my least favorite track now, because we got the win.
Congratulations, Joni. We'll see you in 7 days from Barcelona. That should be a fun one. That's another track where it's fun to drive by yourself, but very difficult to pass that. So that was Joni Ollikainen, winner here at Brands Hatch, and I do believe we have the defending Rallycross World Champion on the line right now. Johan Hart is standing by with Paul Smith.
Yeah, hopefully we've got Johan back there after the little technical issues. But Johan, you know, second place, that's the second step of the podium. You're looking to defend your championship. Just talk us through the action here today, because it looked chaotic out there.
Yeah, well, you mentioned I'm trying to defend my championship. It's not looking good at the moment, but yeah, we're trying. T1 was a bit of a mayhem, I may say. Yeah. So yeah, well, I don't know. I made it through there. Got a really good start, as always. But yeah, couldn't really go anywhere on the outside. 3 wide. I can't really risk anything on the outside. The wall is pretty close. So yeah, just try to cycle in. Got a small lead from Joni because he was close to John. But yeah, cycled back in P2, and then it was just an off lap competition with him all the way. We traded lap times and managed to stay ahead of John.
But yourself and John have really got the starts launch absolutely spot on there. You started on that second row of the grid and were able to get yourself up into second. A little bit of unintended sort of touch with yourself and your teammate, but from then on it was just you're under pressure all the time from your teammate because he wants to keep that championship lead, doesn't he?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Couldn't make a mistake, but yeah. As I said, me, Johnny, and John, I felt like we were pretty much on the same pace, so it was just a matter of keeping the car on track and making no big mistakes. Of course, I made a few mistakes here and there, but nothing major.
And of course, you're having to manage both this and also the series tomorrow as well. Yep. How are you managing that as far as trying to retain your championship here, but also fight for a championship in the roadside?
Yeah, but it's quite tricky. And this week we've got something else as well. We've got the time attack for the VCO Cup of Nations. So yeah, I'm pretty busy this week. And way over 20-25 hours of driving just this week for those 3 competitions.
Well, I hope Alex Simpson is paying you enough, that's for sure. But thank you very much, Johan, and all the best for the rest of this weekend.
Thank you, Paul. Cheers, guys.
So Paul Smith trying to get Johan Hart a raise, I think there. What a race it was. Brands Hatch, the first time we've seen World Championship action from this track. Yes, we had, of course, the All-Star Invitational earlier in the spring, but the first time that we really got a look at what this track is going to put on for us at the World Championship level. Paul, it didn't disappoint. What are you thinking about this layout now that we've seen it in action?
I'm thinking it produced some tremendous action. Yes, there was a few little bits of contact and it got a bit messy, especially in those last chance qualifiers. But at the end of the day, it's nothing that we haven't seen before in this championship. But we got a tremendous feature race and a well-deserved win for Joni Ollikainen. So
let's look then at the standings as they run. It is closed on up, 7 points between John Robertson and Joni Ollikainen. Tommy Holman now sits in third, while as a result of Kevin Ellis Jr. and Vicente Salas having a bit of a disappointing weekend, I think that puts it mildly, especially in the case of Salas. Harth, in his quest to defend his title, is up now to fourth. Battle for your bubble, the relegation battle, is also very, very close. Bergeron, with his 8th place finish, sits just outside looking in. If he had got that career best finish in the top 5, would have been on the inside of that top 10 bubble. And it's really hard to quantify and to qualify just how crucial it is here, Paul, to stay inside that top 10. It's not just prize money, it's not just bragging rights, but it's not having to go through the treacherous road that is qualifying for a world championship.
Yeah, and we've seen how desperate it can be to try and qualify for this World Championship. You've got a limited number of spots on the grid, so these drivers, they know how hard it is to qualify. That's why you need to, you really need to push on and get yourself in that automatic spot.
Well, Brands Hatch, what fun we've had, but it's time to wrap up as round 4 of the iRacing Rallycross World Championship presented by Yokohama is in the books. The World Championship action continues tomorrow on the iRacing Esports Network as the Force Dynamics Dallara iRacing Grand Prix Championship heads up the M25 from Brands Hatch to the home of British Motorsport, where Silverstone will play host to the 5th round in 2021 tomorrow. Catch the action at 7 p.m. UTC or 3 p.m. Eastern. We'll be back in 7 days' time as the virtual paddock sets up shop on the Spanish coast and at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya for round 5 of the iRacing Rallycross World Championship on October 20th. Until then, we'd like to thank you for joining us on the iRacing Esports Network. On behalf of the entire team at iRacing, for Dougie Beard, who gave us our camera pack for today's action, for our production team, Tyler Maxon, Joshua Lee, and Ryan Bauer, for my co-commentator, Paul Smith, my name is Arjuna Kankipati. Congratulations to Joni Ollikainen, winner from the British Isles.